Use code AFTV20 for 20% off your order with Fireaway Pizza. Just click the link in the description below or go to fireaway.co.uk now.
AFTV, Bayern Munich 1, Arsenal 0. We're out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals. James, it's a really bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, do you remember when we did the Villa one? I said to you, I didn't really know what to say. Opposite, I've got a lot to say about this game. So, good luck. You're going to have to help me keep this structured. Bitter pill to swallow. Very like the Villa one. One felt like it ended our title hopes. This one obviously officially ends our hope of, getting to Wembley in June. It's not going out to Bayern that is so terrible, because forget the season they're having. You can't totally forget it, but they're obviously a good side with good players and a very good manager. So we got done. But there is something about us that whenever we go out, and you always got to acknowledge there's another opposition, right? There's an Unai Emery, there's a Thomas Tuchel. These are good managers that are in our way and stopping us, right? You've got to always acknowledge that. But why do I always feel like there's something about us that is hampering us as well? Whether it's mentality, tactically, physically, it's a lot of things. It's all these things. So I feel angry and frustrated because, again, forget how much football we've played. Everyone else has, by the way. Like, all these other teams are playing a lot of football. I just look at our team and I think we effed it up.
Absolutely. I completely understand where you're coming from. And it was, obviously you mentioned the Villa game there, and I think it was kind of similar to the Villa game in the sense that I think we played really good football in the first half, and then we've just come out for that second half. And for lack of a better word, we look spineless. Would you agree?
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Mikel Arteta now, because I think the Arteta discussion is very interesting when it comes to these two games. Let's get that first bit of credit. Came out flying against, actually kind of against Bayern Munich in that first game, but errors. Definitely did for that first 45 against Villa. And I thought that was a decent first half away at Bayern, because we slowed them down, we nullified them, and then our football created some openings. Not a lot, but I get it. You're not going to fully commit because you're worried about what they would do. Cool. But the second half in both games changed. Now, it could be physically, it could be they did something tactically. We tried to explore on tactical insight what Emery might have done differently. But the reality is, even he said, I didn't do much. I think Tuchel probably said the same. We didn't do much different. Arsenal, though, started to lose something. They started to lose a degree of control in the game. So Arteta has to react. And there's two things. A, I think he reacts a touch too late because he lets... Can someone correct me, everyone in this room? When did the subs come? Was it after the 1-0?
Too late, so ultimately.
After. They were 1-0 down. Yeah. So they were getting ascendancy anyway. That goal came, I think, 67th minute? 66th, 67th? Yeah. I think you could see by the 60th minute that, again, we didn't really have control of this game like we did in the first half. And again, control, I say loosely. So he's too late to react. And then when he does... he takes off the one player who's helping us progress through them. Say what you want about Jorginho. You can run through him. He's weak. He's slow. He's 33. Whatever you want to say. That guy knows how to position himself to receive the ball off the centre-backs and then make a pass. And actually, he's the best, certainly this season in the squad, at picking that ball over the top. Cesc used to play them. There's balls over the top to a right-back running through. He did it for Ben White, Saka, whoever it might be. So he took off arguably our most creative outlet as well as our out-ball. Not our out-ball, but our go-to guy, the nucleus of our team. And if you're going to take him off because he's not ready to play the rest of the game and physically they're getting on top of us, you've got to turn to a Thomas Partey. Or you take off, Jorginho, you move Rice back, but you get a Vieira or Smith Rowe. Now, I'm not saying they're the answer. We all know they haven't been the answer this season. But at least you get ball players on the pitch. We end up with Kai Havertz. Now, before you all start going, you're blaming Kai Havertz. Something goes wrong and you blame Kai Havertz. I'm not blaming Kai Havertz because, quite frankly, he doesn't pick where he plays and he didn't sign himself. But I cannot, and I mean it, Frank, and I might be wrong. Maybe the game will evolve and by next season I'll see it and I will be just this small-minded brain in the big galaxy brain of Mikel Arteta who understands this all way better. Sorry for knocking you. But midfielders who don't want the ball don't exist in the modern game anymore. It doesn't, no midfielder hangs on the furthest man waiting for a knockdown or a ball over the top. Now against Villa, I gave him credit. I thought his first half was quite good. He was actually demanding the ball a little bit more, winning it back. But also they had a high line. He had space to exploit. I was watching today thinking, I feel sorry for Rice. He's not really a ball progressor anyway. He can do it. He's not brilliant at it. He is compared to most, but not to the level we need, like a Partey or Jorginho. And he was getting the ball, and it meant Ødegaard had to drop deeper, and Havertz was just lingering. So Tomiyasu, who's not the best ball player himself, had no one really to get it to. Trossard, who's not the fastest, couldn't run in behind. You wanted it to feet. There was no help. The imbalance of that left-hand side cost us massively. And Kai Havertz wasn't, and he's not the only one. Saka had a poor game. I thought the way we managed that last 5-10 minutes with some of the free kicks, corners was shocking. Thought Ødegaard wasn't at it today at all. Jesus, I think, tried. He definitely tried. But again, I know you're offside, but at least get the ball on target. If it goes in the back of the net, at least we'll get a proper review. But he absolutely shanks it. His finishing's, it's been so poor. So sorry, I'm just going on a tangent. But my main point, my main frustration was you need to earn the right to play in games. Villa, second half was the same. This game, 20, 25 minutes to go was the same. And you earn the right by having players who go, give me the ball. Yes, I'll demand a tight space and I'll give it and I'll go and I'll turn and I'll do something. I'd rather he put Trossard in midfield, chucked Havertz up front to go long and put Jesus on the left. So I'm not going to lie, while I can praise Arteta's efforts for the way he's coached this team and got us to a certain point in terms of having a decent first half, certainly played very well in the first half against Villa. It's your job's not done when the whistle goes. You've got to manage the team throughout. And you can hear I'm very passionately frustrated about this exit. It's another cup exit when we feel we shouldn't have gone out. That's the other thing. Going out in the cup when we feel, listen, Bayern are a good side, but we feel we shouldn't. I've rambled on now, but I just think what he did in midfield cost us massively.
Absolutely, and obviously the thing that he did in midfield, which you mentioned, is putting Kai Havertz there again. A lot of people potentially wanted Kai Havertz to be the one to come off instead of the changes that were made in Jorginho and Martinelli. What do you think it is that he's seeing here? Because we've seen it in the past. You know, the Kai Havertz in midfield experiment hasn't worked. Why do you believe he continues to persist with trying this?
Like I said, Arteta might invent something. You know, I remember, I'm not saying he's nowhere near as good as this guy in his prime, but Dele Alli, when he was at his best, he had a bit of a floating position, but he'd get into great spaces. And you'd have Kane, who, you know, he'd make a run off Kane. You'd have Son, who'd be making runs as well. You'd have Eriksen. But our team's not built for that. Our team is built to progress and play through the lines and whatever. And yeah, Tottenham did that at times too. But I just look at our team, who is most comparable to City stylistically, let's say, and I know we have our own differences. When has Pep Guardiola, when has Jurgen Klopp, when have they ever wanted a player whose best attributes are without the ball? Now, yes, you're going to have players that are meant to be brilliant off the ball. I'm not talking defenders, I'm talking attacking players here. Yes, you've got players that do brilliant stuff off the ball as well and help. But first and foremost, have you got that touch? Do you demand the ball? Can you turn a player? Can you drive into space? Can you play a 1-2? Can you play an inventive pass? Can you get a shot from distance? Can you press really aggressively? He doesn't offer that. And this is not about... It is about Kai Havertz. It's not all on him. I think Saka faded. But again... What happens? Martinelli comes off. It's always Martinelli. Why is it always Martinelli? He wasn't having a great game. Was Saka?
No, definitely not.
Was Havertz?
Definitely not.
At least maybe see if Kimmich is tiring. Maybe then Martinelli comes to life. Martinelli is one of our most unpredictable players. Instead, we hug Trossard on the touchline, he's got less pace than a tired Martinelli to burst past them. Listen, Zinchenko's not exactly been great recently, but get him on for his left foot to whip a ball into the box. Okay, look, I'm just going on a rant. Let me just try and give a final line. I've done a lot of ranting in this. To no disgrace to go out to Bayern Munich at the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Before balls kicked this season, people had them as their favourites. Or one of them. They just on Harry Kane, the players they've got. But this was a missed opportunity massively with the home leg and the away leg. In both games, I feel we could have done a lot more. We could have got a draw here, and we could and should have won at the Emirates. We fluffed our nines, bottled it, made errors, whatever. Bayern were good. You've got to give some credit to them as well for the first leg. Second leg, I don't think they were special, but defended quite well. Our season isn't over. the players cannot sink into this run that they do. Last season, 15 points out of 30 in the 10-game run-in. Season before that, 15 points out of 30 in the 10-game run-in. Now it's 3 games without a win again. This doesn't become a player thing, this becomes a manager thing. If for another year, and we've seen it many times, when Arsenal have a bump in the road, they make it a string of 3, 4, 5. We can't do that again. We have to bounce back quickly. We have to win our next 2 Premier League games and ask Man City, are you going to be perfect? We have to. Not all hope is lost. I have a feeling City might drop points one more time, but it doesn't matter if we can't put together the kind of momentum and consistency that is needed to win the title and that we've shown for most of 2024. I can't even get the fucking year right. Proud of the team's efforts to get to this point, but the last 2 games, these second halves, just not good enough in any physically, tactically, mentally. But I believe the players can dig themselves out of it.